2, 1, go!
Hey there, my name's Taylor, and this is the TMBRA Flow Motion, a cross-country mountain bike race at the 29 Pines Ranch near Longview, Texas. I am in the Cat 3 Men's 30 to 39 division, and I think we had about maybe 10 to 20 riders, I think 10 in this category. And this is my first time out at 29 Pines. It's normally private property, but they do open it up for races, and I had never been out here before. I also didn't get a chance to pre-ride the course because it was unseasonably wet. We had a lot of rain in the week leading up to this, and so I didn't go out for the pre-ride, and so this is my first time seeing this course. Fortunately, it's really flowy, as you might expect based on the name, and there's not a lot of technical features, but I've never ridden a course like this before. As you can see already, it's got lots of these little kickers or rollers, I'm not really sure what to call them, and then almost every turn has a really significant berm so that you can carry a lot of speed through them. And this is great, super fun, but I've never ridden anything like this before. At best, I've ridden a really small segment at a different course that has some of these features, but not an entire race loop of this. Anyway, like I mentioned, it had been really wet the week leading up to this, and so the race organizers decided to bring the lap count down by 1 for everybody. So this was supposed to be a 2-lap race, but it turned out to be a 1-lap race. And the lap, let's see, I think it was expected to take us about 30 minutes. It's supposed to be an hour race to begin with. So that means that this is like a sprint, basically. You know, we don't have to save anything for lap 2, just give it all you got on lap 1. So right now I'm in 4th place, and I'm trying to, get my bearings here. I had just been sitting in the car for 2.5 hours driving over to Longview. And yeah, I'm just trying to get a feel for the course and see how it goes and get comfortable. But also, I want to be in first place, so I'm trying to catch up to these guys in front of me. And my experience at mountain bike races has been that people absolutely rocket off the line and dump their whole take right at the beginning. I think because for a lot of mountain bike courses, it's really bad to get stuck behind somebody, because if it's on single track, it's hard to pass. But on this course, there's plenty of opportunities to pass, and so I didn't feel the need to totally gun it right from the beginning. That being said, I'm still trying pretty hard here to catch up to these guys. So yeah, just waiting to see how this develops and trying to move up. About a minute later, we go over this bridge, and I think this is a good opportunity to pass. So I go around this rider in the brown, who I think is Ronald, and then this other rider in the blue, who's Pablo, right before we get to this water feature. So moved myself up to 2nd place, feeling good getting around those guys so early in this race. And now I've got my eyes on this rider in front of me, who I think is Tyler. And I heard him at the beginning of the race talking to someone else, mentioning that he came from a motocross background. And I could tell as I was riding behind him that he was really nailing the berms and going for the jumps, whereas I was doing my best to not get any air on anything and kind of muddling my way through the berms. And you can tell right here he's going to go over this jump on the left. I'm going to take the bypass on the right, and it's a pretty small jump, but still that kind of highlights our differences. I'm from a road riding background, and he's from apparently a motocross background. So my thought is I need to play to my strengths and try to get ahead of him on some flatter section, so that on the more technical sections, he has to work to get around me. But right now we're both having to get around this other rider in black. I think this is Dylan. He's from one of the other age groups that started ahead of us, so we're passing him, but he's not in our race. And yeah, I'm trying to sit on Tyler's wheel for a while now and go at his pace and see if that is too slow for me, or if it's too fast for me, honestly. I really don't know, and especially since I haven't ridden this course before, I have no idea what to expect. Not too much later, we both have an opportunity here to get around this other rider. I think this is Isaac, also from a different category. And you can see I'm at 170 BPM. My max is in 180, somewhere in there. So I'm having to work to keep up with Tyler here in front of me, but I'm not completely blowing myself up. So I'm feeling pretty good at this point, thinking maybe I should take an opportunity to get around him so that other riders don't come up behind us, like you can see in my rear view right now, and pass both of us. I want to get a gap while I can, essentially. And so I do. On this infield section, I say, hey, on your right, and go past him and try to put in a big effort to put a gap between me and him. Again, my road riding background here, I'm thinking I don't want him in my draft, but you know, I don't know, we're only going 15 miles an hour. Does a draft really matter that much? But regardless, I think it's good for like the mental game to get a little bit of a gap there. So I am feeling good right now. I'm in first place. It's only 7 minutes into about a 30-minute race, and I'm kind of getting into the groove of this course, feeling good about things. So we'll see where I go. So nothing much happened for a while, just cruising around, and now I'm behind this rider in red, who I think is Ivan, and you can see that Tyler, the number 2 rider in my category, is right behind me. Ivan's nice enough to let me go around. Tyler works his way around as well, and for some reason, I'm just pushing a little too hard here. Don't notice there's some mud on the berm, and boom, go down. Fortunately, I'm not hurt. My bike is okay, but I'm a little rattled. My sunglasses fell off, my bottle fell off, my bike computer fell off. I have like the crash detection on my bike computer, so it was going nuts. I had to turn that off. But yeah, this was like, I pushed a little too hard when I didn't need to. I was already in first, I just had to stay there. And this actually happened to me a couple races ago, so didn't learn my lesson then. I'm feeling kind of silly about this. But yeah, I'm just trying to collect my bearings here, get back on the bike, and get back into the race. And I knew that I think 1 or 2 people passed me there, but I wasn't sure which ones were in my category. With everybody mixed together, it can be hard to keep track. But yeah, I knew that I would have some work to do here to get back either into the race at all, much less back into first place, which I think is probably not going to happen at this point. So I'm playing it really safe on these corners. I don't want to crash again, and Pablo takes advantage of me being gun shy and goes around. So at this point, I think I'm in either 3rd or 4th. I'm not totally sure. But yeah, I'm just really gun shy on these corners, really trying to look at the course before I go over it to see if there's any mud and avoid that if I can. And if not, just go super slow over the mud. So not a good place to be in, not feeling super confident about my handling. But, what are you going to do? It just crashed a minute ago. So Pablo and I have just been cruising for a little while. I've managed to stay on his wheel, and the fast group from the 40 to 49 category catch up with us. So this is, I think, Brandon going by there. A little sketchy through some mud, and then another Brandon actually going by me. And then behind me, there's Brian and Matt. So these are the quick guys from the next category down. They started a minute behind us, and, they're all getting past us, slowbies from my category. So it's nice and wide here, easy to pass. And actually, I take this opportunity to go around Pablo as well. So I think at this point I'm back in 3rd place. But again, it's been difficult for me to keep track during the race because I fell, and we got 3 different categories all mixed together here. But yeah, I'm just trying to I do a lot better when there's somebody in front of me because I can watch their lines and convince myself that if they can do it, I can do it. So having this fast rider from the next category in front of me is a big motivator. And also knowing that there's somebody right behind me and I want to not have them pass me, that's also a big motivator. So this is a really good place for me to be in, except that I'm not fast enough, so this other guy goes around me, and there's probably more of that going to happen in just a minute. I think you see this other rider with the Torchies kit in my rear view. But yeah, I've been even though I crashed, I really enjoyed this course, and I wish that I could ride it more, both when it's dry out, because this was mostly dry. Our race started at 11 o'clock in the morning, so the sun had been out and it had dried up a lot of this, but there were still some wet patches, some muddy patches. That's what caused me to crash, I think. And yeah, I can just imagine that if I was out here the day after this race, this would be an absolute dream to ride. And like I said earlier, I'd never ridden anything like this before, so it would be a ton of fun to come out and do this again. I don't know when the next event is at 29 Pines, but I'm probably going to sign up for it because this was awesome. So now I'm in that no man's land where I can't see anybody in front of me, I can't see anybody behind me, and this is just really bad for motivation because I've got nobody to chase, I've got nobody to keep off my tail, and I had crashed earlier, so my instincts for playing it safe are overriding here. And obviously on this infield section there's not really any safety to consider, but yeah, it's hard to stay motivated for me in these instances. So you know how I was just saying, it's hard to stay motivated when you can't see anybody in front of you. Fortunately, this big infield section, I can see people up in front of me, and I don't know if they're in my category or the next one before me or the one after me, whatever. Anyway, I decide this is probably playing to my strengths a little bit. I want to go chase them, so I do through this infield section, and my goal here is I want to get around them before we get back into the woods. Not that it would really be any harder to get around them at any other point, but it's, it's a rabbit to chase here, so I'm chasing. And yeah, I mean, it works. You can see I'm gaining on this guy. He is really chugging along here, and this is playing to my strengths, like I said, as at least I like to think of myself as a road rider. This is what I'm all about here. So I get past him, go through this gate, and I'm in front, going into this wooded section. I don't know what happened to those other riders. They're still pretty far ahead of me, but it felt good to catch somebody there at that point in the race. So here's one of the rock features on the course, this big ramp. Decided to go around it. Looking at it in the rear view, it probably wasn't too spooky, but this was my first time ever riding the course, so I decided to play it super safe. And then this is like a rock garden kind of going down. On the left, you could have done a little jump or drop. I'm sure either route would have been fine, but I took the safer one. Again, crashing earlier and not riding this course made me really gun shy. But yeah, those are two of the big features on this course that aren't these little kickers or the berms. So here's another one of the big features. The sign says to the right, fly over, to the left, fly under. The flyover is like a wooden drop ramp kind of thing. We'll see it when we go under it. I decided to go around even though it added a little more time because it had been wet. I don't trust wet wood, but probably would have been totally fine. And yeah, just, play it safe, take a little bit of extra time and do the fly under. But yeah, if I were to do this course again, I would love to do that flyover and see what it's all about. So here I'm catching up to a rider from another category and go around him there. Rewatching the footage, I probably should have picked a better spot to go around, but they noticed I was there and were okay with the pass. So yeah. You may notice more spectators on the sides. That's because we're coming into the start-finish. This is an uphill into the finish line. And I decided to empty the tank because there's no second lap. This is a sprint after all. So I end up crossing the finish line in 3rd place in my division. And that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. There's links to Strava and the official results in the description. See ya.